Hi everyone, I'm Keith, M7BYD. Once again, a very warm welcome, and that is quite literally wherever you are to our new hams net. Before our net, let us ask if there is any emergency or priority traffic. M7BYD standing by. Okay, nothing was heard there, so if there is at any time any priority traffic throughout our net, please call break and I'll stand by immediately for you. It's always my very great pleasure to host and net control the new Hamsnet every Sunday at the time of 2000 hours GMT, which is currently 1900 hours UTC, here on the Extended Freedom Network. I'll take a tip. I always want everyone to feel at home and relaxed here on our net, and you'll always find everyone here is very friendly and welcoming, and it really doesn't matter where you are or what grade of license you hold. If you're a brand new amateur, congratulations. If you are, please push your PTC and give me a call, even if it's just to get your name in the logbook. I'll take a pip. M7BYD returning. If you can, please do remember the repeaters quite literally all around the global timer after 3 minutes. So if you can, take a pip, and that's during your over, and that'll give the repeaters time to reset. When you call in or if you return after a pip, just give a short pause before you speak so the beginning of your over isn't clipped. I'll take a pip. I'm always so grateful to my mate Gareth, G0WUR, who is one of the Extended Freedom Network founders, for entering your check-ins into NetLogger. And Gareth, he does it so regularly for us. That way we can all see who's checked into the net, including the great comments that I love to see on the blue screen. And if you haven't got NetLogger, it is free to download. And I do encourage you to get it. Okay, on to my topic this week, which is amateur radio building blocks. And on this net, I'm always grateful when experienced hams call in and provide help and information for new hams. And with that in mind, if anyone has any recommendations to help people to set up a new station, we would be very grateful to hear your thoughts. The must-haves and the important things to consider that could give a new amateur the very best start in our hobby. Please, let's see what we can do. I'll take a pip. Please, at any time, if you want to go off topic, we can talk about whatever you want. And please call out if you've got the time to give an answer to a question or give help to somebody you heard earlier on in the net. Come back in and let me know. You are more than welcome. Okay, I will ask for check-ins. Please speak slowly with your call sign, your name, and your location. I'm Keith, M7BYD, host and net control of the new Hamsnet, here on the Extended Freedom Network. Taking check-ins, please.
Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo. Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo. Doug in Kitchener. Good evening, Keith.
Oh, this is M7BYD. Victor Echo 3 Extra Delta Bravo. Got you, Doug. Thank you so much for checking in, as you do regularly on my net. As you know, I'm so very grateful. If you would just stand by, I will give another shout out to see if we can get a little bit more of what we call the population on the list, don't we? So stand by, Doug, and I'll get back to you. This is M7BYD here on the new Hamsnet. If you'd like to join me on the bit of a topic I've got running, you are more than welcome to do so. M7BYD standing by for any more check-ins, please.
2 Echo 1 Golf Foxtrot Lima. 2E1 GFL Venice in the land of the Prince Bishops.
Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo. Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo Brian, also in the land of the Prince Bishops.
I don't know if I got in on my last try. Good afternoon, KA3BMS. King Able 3 Boston, Mike Sure, southeastern Pennsylvania.
This is Mike 7 Lima Golf Mike. Mike 7 Lima Golf Mike. Thomas.
Oh, this is M7BYD here on the new Hamsnet. I do have quite a population on the list right now. For that, I'm very grateful. So, in reverse order of the current list, I do have M7LGM, KA3BMS, G7OCK, 2E1GFL, V3XDB at the top of the current list. So thank you once again for checking in. We will go over to Doug. Hiya, Doug. It's a little exercise if we can give anything to bolster and encourage people into the hobby by way of who may be listening. There are a few people now, thankfully, around the world who do listen and haven't yet sort of fabricated the new radio station. So over to you, Doug, and thank you again for joining. V3XDB, over to you from M7BYD.
M7BYD from VE3XDB. Good evening, Keith. I hope that you're well and that everything is fine there. It's a kind of a blustery afternoon here, overcast, and it's blowing, and I think we might be getting some rain shortly. So I'm going to leave the traditional answer, that you might offer a new ham about, a transceiver, a power supply, an antenna, etc. And I'm going to take a slightly, maybe a different approach. I would say that the building blocks for a new ham in building a station is number 1, curiosity. Number 2, willingness to experiment and to learn. And number 3, persistence. And in persistence, I mean taking things step by step, trying to have an objective and have kind of modest incremental goals. Don't try and conquer the world all at once, and have fun doing it. And so I think those are my blocks for a new ham. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you from VE3XDB.
VE3XDB M7BYD. Thanks so much, Doug. Do forgive me if I come back using an expression which has been tried and tested one or two times now, and that's thinking outside of the box. You didn't give sort of the immediate stock answer. Wouldn't have mattered at all if you did, because all contributions on this net are well received. And that's a great one, in actual fact. Yeah, curiosity. And don't get knocked back. What you were saying is enjoy the concept and development within the hobby. So all of that comes with interaction with other amateurs, listening, finding out how people conduct themselves on radio. I'll just take a pip. M7BYD, and also like the progress within the hobby, and yeah, don't get bogged down. I think all of the suggestions that you make work. Of that, there's no question, and that really is before you bought any equipment. You have to have the determination to progress within the hobby. You have to have the curiosity. And furtherment, it's a great idea. Well suggested, Doug, without any question. Forgive me for asking you, when you joined the hobby yourself, is that the route that you actually took? Was it interspersed with something else by way of progression in the hobby? Because it was such a good answer, if you don't mind, I will pass it back to you. Thanks so much. Back to you. And that, of course, is something that I'm looking forward to hearing. V3XDB. Back to you, Doug, from M7BYD.
Oh, very good, Keith. Well, I've been the curious sort for my whole life. From building computers in the 70s and building radios when I was a kid, and just I've always been curious and like to play around with things and kind of see how things work, take things apart, and try and put them back together. So I think it's just more of my nature, but it served me well. Being curious got me to the Extended Freedom Network. I had never heard of it. I've never heard of the concept before about 2000. So I learned all about it, and now I have All-Star nodes and DV Switch servers, and I use DV Switch Mobile, and I have Pi-Star and all that kind of stuff, which is not the traditional amateur radio kind of route, but it's learning, and it kind of fits that criteria of being curious and willingness to experiment and to learn and being a little bit persistent. So that's just my nature, I think. Anyway, all the best, Keith, and hello to everyone else who's checked in and listening. Back to you from VE3XDB.
V3XDB, this is M7BYD. Well, what an absolute ambassador you are, completely, Doug, into amateur radio. I really enjoy your answers when you join into the net, and how things have developed. You are quite right. We can enjoy all aspects. We don't have to be purely internet connected, and we all know that whatever we say now is being retransmitted via RF, and you have to have a license to do so. And we can explore and examine topics on amateur radio just purely and simply because we're able to connect in this way. And with you being so far away, unless conditions were extraordinary from where I'm located right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Thank you again, Doug. Please do drop by again and give me a call whenever you're free. I shall bid you 73 for the time being, if I may, and I will drop down the list, and I'll call up Dennis, if I may. And Dennis is a member of the Bishop Auckland Radio Amateur Club, of which I'm a proud member also. And yeah, you've had a fair bit of experience, shall we say, Dennis, in one form or another. So you are once again more than qualified. Look forward to hearing what you've got to say. Over to you, Dennis, if I may. 2E1 GFL from M7BYD.
You crack me up. 2E1 GFL returning. Well, first of all, I would like to say, get to know the equipment you're using. Find out how it works. Then you won't have to beat the hell out of it. Background unit control.
On GFL M7BYD, it would appear that there may have been some form of carrier on during the first part of your over, Dennis, so it was clipped, unfortunately, not by your good self, but by other means. But I got the latter part of it, and I can reduce that to the word familiarization, which is absolutely right, Dan, without question. You've got to have a bit of an idea, because without which you can actually lose a connection or communications, as there are so many dials and various things that we can do within a shortwave and any other piece of equipment that you've got. Examine it thoroughly. It's a good idea, and I would assume you might be thinking of having a dummy load in and experimenting before you even get cracking. And that's whilst listening to other amateurs who've got more than a good idea how to comms. If I may, I'll throw that one back to you and see if that's where you were coming from, Den, if I may. Back to you, Den, 2E1 GFL from M7BYD.
GFL returning. Yeah, well, first of all, join a club. If you've got one near you, or you've got one available, because there's always someone who'll help you out and give you good advice. And always be aware you're never ever too old to learn. You learn something new every day. Take on board what people tell you. Spend your money wisely. You could buy the biggest, expensivest, dearest rig on the market, and if you're putting it through a piece of string, you'll never get out. I'll just take a pip. Spend your money wisely. Buy decent coax and a decent antenna. Then you won't need to put thousands and thousands of watts out through your gear to get people to hear you. Background unit control from 2E1 GFL.
2E1 GFL M7BYD. Very wise words indeed, Dan. There's no question about it. Yeah, I did the right thing, because I joined what I've found to be a very, very good club. I'm fortunate without question of it, and without a doubt, without question. And in doing so, I have received a great deal of help and information, more so than I would ever have imagined. So yeah, it matters. It really does. Listen to the advice. Absolutely right. Also, Dan. That way you will. You won't fall foul of the pitfalls that can become us all in ham radio. So thank you so much again to you for joining, Den. We'll speak soon, I've no doubt, and we'll have a laugh. Of that, there's no doubt also. So if you would do take care, Dan, and we will drop down the list now to your comrade in arms, and of course that's Brian. And Brian is G7OCK, also with a wealth of experience in amateur radio, and he's come across the pitfalls and what guidance he can give. Yeah, well, Brian is the first gentleman that I met. Yeah, Brian, I called you a gentleman, and that's justified. When I went along to the club, and Brian introduced me to what I thoroughly enjoy going to every Thursday. Over to you, Brian, G7OCK from M7BYD.
Yeah, Roger on that net control. I'm starting to get worried. What you're after? I haven't got it, and I don't intend to give you it. So you can pack up from there. One of the best pieces of advice, Keith, is if you're not 100% sure what you're doing, ask. Ask somebody that possibly knows, whether that be on the first time that I met you was via email, or whether it be on air. But don't be afraid to ask. We're a friendly bunch. We do like to help people as much as possible. And that's one of the big advantages of being in a club or just being in a group in general. Don't be afraid to ask if you're not sure what you're up to. From Golf 7, Oscar Charlie Kilo.
G7OCK, M7BYD. Yeah, absolutely right, Brian. You have to ask. I have, since I joined the club. Methods of communicating have changed dramatically in what I would describe as a relatively short space of time within amateur radio. And to that I have obviously include internet-assisted radio for us amateurs. And being part of a club, you will indeed get the answers you desire to guide you into avoiding the pitfalls. So yeah, I would 100% agree with that, Brian. After something, no, not at all. You suggested to me that maybe for my circumstances, a noise limiter by I've forgotten the phrase now. Do forgive me. And you can come back and shout at me if you wish and tell me what it is. I'm just in a mental block. But yeah, getting as a noise blanker for HF, it's brilliant. So I'm not after anything else, Brian. And thank you for putting it in the way that you have. I quite enjoyed that. So yeah, when it comes to the things that encouraged you into the hobby, Brian, really, what source did that come from for you? I mean, you obviously got into the hobby, and I know that you were the same as me and many others along the line. I have had something to do with some things to do with CB. There's no question. But when it comes to amateur radio and what it offers, what floated your boat, if you don't mind me asking? Back to you, Brian. G7OCK from M7BYD.
Yeah, Roger, on that case, I'm not sure where you'll hear the other announcement in the background or not, but it'll have to go on. It'll finish in a minute anyhow. What got me into the hobby as such? Well, you were right, CB, curiosity. Trying to get a bit better than what I was doing before, and some of the technical stuff as well. And a good friend of mine joined the hobby a few years before I did, who sadly passed away quite some time since. But he helped a lot and got me into the hobby and got me enjoying it. And one of the other things that anybody that's new to the hobby wants to do, if at all possible, go along to either a club, or if a local club's got a special event station on somewhere that you can go and see and go and talk to people with, please do so. The Bishop Auckland Club does a lot of special event stations right through the year, as you very well know. I'll take a little pip. Speaking of such, we've got one in the local area coming up next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 15th and 16th of June, at Shildon Railway Museum. So if there's any of our listeners out there that want to come along, see how we put a special event station on, see what we get up to and how we do it, and set the station up from scratch, please do so. Please come and make yourself known. I'll be there, certainly. And if at all in doubt, Asford Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo. They'll all point you out. I'm the ugly one with a baldy head. From Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo.
G7OCK M7BYD returning. Good heavens, Brian, you do yourself a disservice. If there's anyone who attends a special event station who wants to engage with people about anything, you're the man. There's quite the way you phrased that. It did give me quite a bit of an element of humour, to say the very least. No, that's not the case with your good self, and we all know that, Brian. You encourage people into the hobby. You encouraged me. If the welcome that I got wasn't what I was expecting, I would have voted with my feet and I would have gone. But no, I'm a very happy member of the Bishop Auckland Radio Amateur Club. So no, Brian, that's absolutely fine. I'll take it, Pip. M7BYD continuing. So yeah, special event stations. I don't know how they're handled throughout the world, but if you put on something that people may want to contact purely and simply because the call sign is entirely different and worth getting a log, and especially if it's something that's entirely different to events that normally take place with amateur radio. And of course, Shildon Railway Museum is an absolute prime example, and this is one of the few times that I won't be going along because of the job that I have, unfortunately, which is all weekend based, and will be one of the first that I've missed in quite a while. But I will take the opportunity to check in, obviously, Brian, and sad that I won't be there on the table, and I hope a few photographs are taken for the memories. So, thanks a lot, Brian, for those words. Very good, no question at all. And we'll break with your good self. And 73, and as with Dennis, hope we'll see you and have a chat soon. Cheers, Brian. So we're down the list to K3BMS. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is sort of an exploratory thing that would help, I hope, new amateurs who will be listening around, who are now aware that you can connect to amateur radio and listen only and find out more about the hobby. And it's all provided by the people who've done it for quite a while. So over to you, K3BMS from M7BYD. KA3BMS, M7BYD, receiving from M7BYD.
Yes, I'm sorry for the delayed response. K3BMS, the only advice I can give to new ham is to feel free to listen, ask questions, get involved with the Ham Radio Club, get some ham books, some books for resources. Maybe even take a basic electronics course at a local college or night school or something. I don't know how else I could help out KA3BMS. That's probably the only advice I can give someone.
K3BMS, M7BYD. Well, good advice without any question. And it is perfectly true. You join a club, you have reading material which can guide you in the right direction. So the physical and practical applications of amateur radio will be provided by the club. And as far as an electronics course is concerned, less important apparently these days because of construction side of things, and that is really down to personal choice. Some are interested. I am. I come from way back, point to point, with tubes and point to point wiring right the way through. So that's been an interest of mine. Not everybody's, and that's down to personal preference as well. So, was there one thing that sort of geared you up to joining amateur radio? And if so, was it something you could give advice to someone else from your own experience? K3BMS from M7BYD.
Everything I recommended is what I had to do. As I came into ham radio as a machinist, I was going to be a machinist first in electronics. Just listen in, be I'd recommend somebody maybe getting a general coverage receiver and enjoying listening into shortwave and maybe VHF, UHF stuff. I really don't know how else I could recommend anybody, leave them any directions. Don't chase women, don't drink beer, spend time in ham radio, you'll have more fun. KA3BMS.
KA3BMS M7BYD. Wasn't expecting that response, Hank, and thank you so much. Yeah, I'll put that information into my little black book, and yeah, I appreciate those comments. Thank you very much indeed. 7-3 to you, Hank. We'll speak soon. I'm hoping, and thank you for taking the time to pass by and giving of your thoughts. We'll drop down the list right now to Thomas, who is M7LGM, also a regular contributor to this net, and I appreciate you joining me, Thomas. I hope you're well, and if you've heard the topic, that's fantastic. If not, I'll give you a refresher. Over to Thomas, M7LGM from M7BYD.
M7LGM. Yeah, it's a hard question because it depends on the person's situation, where they are, what the budget is, what they're trying to do. People may not know what they want to do until they start doing things. Joining a club or getting to know another amateur can be useful. A few people have helped me. I bought my first handheld from an amateur, and then I could listen to the Notion repeater, which is internet linked. And some have given me things to get me started and increase my capabilities. I've been lent and kindly given quite a few things to help me. I won't go through them because there's a list. Yeah, Echolink's useful because there's a low barrier to entry. You don't have to spend much money, and it just gets you started and talking to people and learning the etiquette and everything. Back to you from M7LGM.
M7LGM, M7BYD. Thank you so much, Thomas. I apologize. There appeared to be a bit of a loop going on there, which is being addressed. Has been addressed. Thank you, gentlemen in the background, for doing that, and obviously resetting the SIP portal that I'm coming through at the present time, and that has been corrected. It's great. So yeah, I actually fortunately had my handheld switched on through my hotspot and got your communications as the SIP portal was being reset. So yeah, that to me is a great answer, and it's actually down to generosity. People really want to encourage new amateurs into amateur radio, and if they have the wherewithal to get someone started who shows enthusiasm, which you do, to be fair, Thomas, you really do, and that sort of enthusiasm is to be encouraged at whatever level. And the donations of the equipment that's enabled you to participate, to me, I find that to be outstanding. It's just a mark of the hobby that we belong to. So, from your point of view, for amateur radio, maybe what has been the most important thing that you would suggest that you've received that would encourage any other new amateur? We're obviously not talking about the generosity that's been applied in this situation. What I think is outstanding. But if you have anything you'd like to say along those lines, Thomas, I'd love to hear it. So M7LGM from M7BYD.
M7LGM. Yeah, like I said, it really depends where someone is. You know, they might be in an area where, you know, maybe there's not any repeaters or something. People may be more interested in doing HF, or people may. So yeah, I think it really depends on. You know, some people may enjoy HF, some people may enjoy more the tinkering side. So yeah, it's really hard to sort of give. But yeah, I guess it'd be things that are sort of a low barrier to entry that sort of get people started, and then they can build from there, really. So yeah, a lot of people sort of get a handheld or a mobile radio or something, and they build on from there. But it really depends. You know, there's not always a lot of activity on there, so which may discourage some people. So it really depends on you know, what people are trying to do, and you know, what their budget is and things. Yeah, I hope that helped. Back to you from M7LGM.
M7LGM, M7BYD. Of course it helps, Thomas, without a doubt, for people who are listening. So, yeah, we've all got different aspects of the hobby, and that's the great part of it. There is a great phrase that has been coined, and I'll use it over and over again, as I know my friends will, and that is, this is a hobby of 1,000 hobbies. Just because you enjoy one particular aspect of it doesn't exclude you from any other part of it, and likewise from anyone else's interest. So there is absolutely no point in saying, well, I don't like that or whatever, because somebody else is doing it, because we can all choose. The choices are ours. So you're quite right when it comes to the handheld side of things, which got you going. You're not alone. That's exactly the way that people start in amateur radio. Is there one particular thing, Thomas, you would think that you, not necessarily that you received, in one area that you are interested in? Is there one area that you're interested in? And what would you suggest that people do to encourage that area? If you don't mind, I'll throw it back to you for that one, Thomas. M7LGM from M7BYD.
M7LGM. Yeah, well, I think the main thing was that, I managed to speak to the Nottingham repeater, which is connected to another network, and that sort of got me started. I managed to try to get into a net once, and I didn't quite do it right. Didn't quite manage to. All I managed to do was get my call sign. I sent them a nice email, and they sent me a nice email back, and when I've been on that, on Echolink or any other way, that sort of, they've been very helpful and everything, and that sort of, helped me quite a bit. Back to you from M7LGM.
M7LGM, M7BYD. Very wise words indeed. If you got help in any which way, and good that you could manage to check in with the repeater that's local to you. That's absolutely great stuff. And thank you for your contribution. I appreciate it very much, Thomas. And indeed, the listeners to this net will do also. So, right now, and 7-3 to you, Thomas. Please do join me again. I do find myself at the bottom of the current list. if anyone else would like to join me on my little topic of a way of helping new amateurs into the hobby because of other people's experiences, and what should you either prioritize or recommendations for what you should do to get into the hobby, then you are more than welcome. This is M7BYD, standing by for any more chickens, please. This is M7BYD. Wow, no response, in which case I'll give another shout out if I may. Anyone else who would like to join me here on the new Hamsnet, which takes place every Sunday at 2000 hours GMT, which is currently 1900 hours UTC, you're more than welcome to do so. A little bit of a topic running, and you can call in if you want. Don't have to join in with the topic, but do feel free. M7BYD standing by for any more check-ins, please.
This is Victor Echo 7, Whiskey Charlie Papa checking in.
V3WCP, this is M7BYD. I do have you in the log, and it's good of you to call in. And I do have your name as Ward, so I hope I've got that right. Good of you to join, as I say. Do forgive me, I will give another shout out just in case anyone else would like to join me on this net right now, which is the new hams net, where we help new amateurs by experienced hams calling in and giving advice. M7BYD, standing by for any more check-ins, please. Okay, nothing heard, in which case we will go over to your ward, which is which you have the call sign V7WCP. Hope you're well. Thank you very much indeed for joining the net. It's the first time check-in on my net, and it's an encouragement throughout the world to get new amateurs to join by the experiences of others. And if you haven't heard the topic, it's just a little one. I'm more than happy to reiterate. In the meantime, I hope you're well. Over to you, V7WCP from M7BYD.
Yeah, Victor Echo 7, Whiskey Charlie Papa. I'm very well, thank you very much. We're just on a little road trip today. I've actually never checked into this net, as you say, and actually I've never used this repeater. So this is the New Westminster repeater in New Westminster, British Columbia. So I wasn't even sure if I had everything up correctly. I think I would still consider myself a new ham operator. I've had a call sign since the fall of 2023, and so yeah, I'm still eager to learn and always listening for any good information and advice. So I really appreciate you running this net. I often do listen and have learned a lot.
V7WCP M7BYD returning. Very, very good indeed. Good for you for getting your license so recently, if you will, Ward. It's quite brilliant. From your experiences being a new amateur, if you don't mind me asking, what got you into the hobby by way of encouragement, if you like, because that's really part of the topic. Because the original idea, as always, has been we're getting experienced amateurs to join me on this net, and they will provide information that can help other amateurs who haven't yet pressed the PTT, who haven't had the opportunity and the experience or the being in the comfort zone. So what really got you into amateur radio? A little nuggets of information that would help new hams. That's really where I'm coming from, Ward. And thank you so much for checking in. Do pass by again here on the Extended Freedom Network, and I hope the router I hope where you are connected right now you're able to connect again. V7WCP, over to you from M7BYD.
Excellent. Thank you for your questions and your topic. I've always been into electrical, electronics, and radio has always been a fascination. In my younger days, I had lots of citizen band radio, and I played at building some some milliwatt transmitters and various electronic projects, and many of them are focused around radio reception. I've really enjoyed, although there's not very much of it left, I used to enjoy shortwave listening and hearing things from around the world. That took a hiatus, as things often do in life. You have family and children, and life gets very, very busy. And then I don't know what happened about a year ago. I decided I'm going to do it. I got to study for this and make it happen because I've always had an interest. And so I guess I had some time and opportunity and decided to go for it. And I totally understand new operators that fear or that concern to press the talk button and reach out there, have all those people hear you and see what's going on. But I would encourage people, although I must say I've hesitated to call into this net because I've been unsure if I've got things set up correctly. But I've always found everybody very welcoming. And don't be afraid. You don't have to be perfect. Although there's rules and guidelines they had us study. Of course, there's everybody's been very friendly and guiding. It's not all hard and fast. I'm just going to take a break for the repeater for a moment. I would really encourage people to also join a club. Find some other like-minded, interested people, so that you can get some further information. Because those clubs always have nets and various things, opportunities to use your radio, and that's a more local group. So that might be a little less cause a little less fear, but I would encourage people to even reach out on these larger worldwide nets because everybody's always very welcoming. I've always felt very welcome to all of it. So don't be afraid. Press the button. And that would be it for my advice. Victor Echo 7 with Charlie Papa waiting your call.
V7WCP M7BYD returning. Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more, Ward. That's very good advice, and that's advice that I really start off with the very nature of this net. Please, you're quite right. Don't be afraid to push the PTT. And I've also been very fortunate to have a couple of new amateurs who have actually called into this net using this net as their very first push to talk and joining in with the conversations because of the welcoming nature. Everyone who joins into the net who's prepared to answer questions makes the net a very comfortable place to be. There's nobody here that's judging anybody else. It's not a case of a judging match as to how you conduct yourself on the radio. It's very much a sphere where we can all spread the information about ham radio. Thank you so much, Ward. If you're near to the repeater that you find yourself now, that's evidently connected throughout a link that goes through the Extended Freedom Network, we're here every Sunday starting 2000 hours GMT, 1900 hours UTC. So please do feel free to call by again and give of your experiences from the little topics that I have running. I do, for the time being, wish you the very best 7-3 Ward, and I hope you stay well and enjoy amateur radio, especially as you started off in the same way that I did with the interest in electronics. So 7-3 to you, Ward, and saying that, I find myself once again at the bottom of this list. If anyone else would like to join me here on the New Hamsnet, do feel free to give me a shout. Check in. If you want to go off topic and there's something else you want to shout about that can help New Hams, or something you want to say, you're more than welcome to do so. So this is M7BYD. Stand by for any more check-ins, please.
Victor Alpha 7, Charlie, Quebec Delta. M7BYD, Victor Alpha 7, Charlie, Quebec Delta.
Victor Alpha 7, Charlie, Quebec Delta. This is M7BYD. Sorry, I'm just having one or two technical difficulties. I apologise for that. Having a bit of a reset of certain pieces of equipment, and I've changed over to a different method of communication. So, forgive me, I don't have your name at present. You are quite rightly on the list here on NetLogger. So if you're able to give me any more information, you're more than welcome to do so, as indeed your name would be great. Don't know whether you've heard a little bit of a topic I've got running here, because it is the New Hamsnet, and the idea of being able to provide any help that would encourage new amateurs to join us by way of equipment, advice, and that sort of thing. So over to you, VA7 CQD from M7BYD.
Yeah, that's no problem. My first personal is Daryl, Delta Alpha, Romeo, Yankee Lima. Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Just actually across from New West from the other fellow you spoke to a moment ago. A new amateur as well, so I'm going to break for a second. I got my license back in November 23 also. I joined our club out here in Surrey. I find them a very great group of people to get a lot of information from. I'm just running a couple handhelds right now, but eventually I'm going to bump up to mobile, but I'm in a condo, so I'm not on HF yet. But I'm going to learn as much as I can about UHF, VHF, and then decide to go further.
VA7CQD. Thanks, Dale, very much indeed for that comeback. So yes, you've started in a positive way. In other words, you haven't decided to go out and get all of this sort of HF equipment or one thing or another, and you're able to make the communications. And if you're able to contact a repeater, fine. A lot of people these days are using hubs and nodes and various other things and hotspots, which I have running here in the sort of situation where I need a piece of equipment to take over, which I just had to do. So it's always a good way to go forward. I hope you're enjoying the hobby, Daryl, and joining a club or anything along those lines where you can get the advice that you need to help you embrace the hobby. Well, it's always a good thing. So what's your beginnings, if you don't mind me asking, within amateur radio, that may help just because of your own experiences to get you involved in amateur radio so that you're able to help others. And that's one of the reasons for this very net. If you don't mind me asking that question, whereabouts did you find the information that encouraged you, and what got you into amateur radio? Over to you, Daryl, VA7CQD from M7BYD.
Basically, I got the interest probably about 35, 40 years ago when my kids were really little. So, of course, you've got 3 children, you're raising them. There's not a lot of money for the hobby sometimes. So I kind of parked it on the side. The expense equipment at the time was what it is. Today's world, technology's changed so much. The equipment's not so expensive now. And what got me in for the past couple of years was like the other fellow. I just wanted to finally do it and get her done. It's kind of what I did. Found all my stuff I needed online through some searching, and I've used to be into police amateur radio scanning and stuff like that. Evidence of fire, but now they're trunking, so we can't do that, which is fine. There's other amateur stuff to listen to. I'm going to break for a second. And the interest in the hobby just stayed with me all these years. So like the other fellow said, Wade, I believe it was, just to make sure, or Ward, excuse me, just to make sure that you get her done.
VA7CQD, M7BYD, net control, that's absolutely fine, Daryl. Appreciate that very much, yeah. You have various listening posts, if you like, within the radio community. I've had all manners of scanners and radio receivers, and yeah, we're talking about over 50 years ago, and that was my basis for thoroughly enjoying electronics and radio communications. And I didn't realize until very recently it wasn't a prerequisite to entertain Morse code, because that's always been a stumbling block for me. I haven't been able to engage with CW at all, and that to me has been a stumbling block. I'll take a pip. M7BYD continuing. So it's difficult, really, when you suddenly realise that you could have been involved with amateur radio back here in the UK and the beginnings of the 2000 or thereabouts. That makes a rather sad difference to me, where I could have thoroughly enjoyed the hobby for a lot longer than I have. So no, I know exactly what you're saying, Daryl, and thank you for coming back to me on that one. And if you are at any time around, you want to join in and give any wisdom that you might have, or be able to help anyone else, do listen in, pass by, and check in. Thanks very much, Daryl. Daryl is VA7CQD, and I will bid you the very best 7-3 for the time being. And I am here at the net at the bottom of the list. Anyone else would like to check in with me, please? A little topic that I've got running is all about providing your wisdom to help new amateurs set up their station from your own experiences. M7BYD standing by for any more check-ins, please. This is M7BYD. There was a station who called in there, but unfortunately the voice was below the noise floor, sadly, so totally unintelligible, and I can't get you. If you want to give me another try, you are more than welcome to do so. That's all I can say. It's well below the noise floor. So a station that was calling in, do give me another try. M7BYD standing by.
The controller is occurring to me that I explain my previous advice. If I may, please. KA3BMS.
Victor Alpha 7 Delta. This is Derek trying different radio.
This is M7BYD. I got a recheck there from KA3BMS, and there was the station who tried a different radio, and yes, I would have been able to get that call sign of your good self, if you wouldn't mind, just so that I can pop your call sign into the log, and then do forgive me as a recheck. We'll go over to K3BMS, and then we'll come back to your good self. So the station that was trying, do try again, because much better that particular time. M7BYD is standing by.
My call sign again is Victor Alpha 7 Whiskey Zulu Delta. Victor Alpha 7 Whiskey Zulu Delta. This is Derek coming from Port Moody through the New Westminster repeater in BC.
VA7WZD, this is M7BYD. Got you completely there, Derek. Thank you very much indeed. Come back to you very, very shortly. But yes, a further explanation has been asked of the net, and it's coming from K3BMS. So over to you from M7BYD.
Thank you very much, K3BMS. Allow me respectfully to explain my suggestion from earlier. I recommended stay away from women and don't drink beer, play with radio. Reason being, a radio has never slapped my face for playing with its knobs, and I never had a hangover from being up late at night on the radio. Ham radio has been a lot of fun for me over the years. Sometimes too much fun. KA3BMS.
KA3BMS M7BYD. Wasn't expecting that, Hank. I do thank you so much for your clarification. Yeah, a lot of that is, yeah, absolutely 100%. A lot of people can identify with exactly the way you've described that. Thank you for taking the time to come back with that clarification. I will keep that in mind for a long time. Take care, Hank, and as you're passing, please do join me whenever you can. So, thanks for that, Hank. 731 again, once again. Drop down now to Derek, and Derek is VA7WZD. We've got you. I can copy you fine now. This is that was a readability 5. So yeah, do go ahead, Derek. And I don't know whether you heard a little bit of a topic. If you want to join in, or you're just calling into the net that you haven't heard before. Over to you, and thanks again, Derek. VA7WZD from M7BYD.
Victor Alpha 7 with Zulu Delta. Yeah, so interesting that you couldn't hear me on the other radio, which is hopefully just something that I need to figure out in settings. It's a brand new radio, so that's quite possible. But yeah, to add my 2 cents to the topic, I'm relatively new. I've had my license for a couple of months now, and I'm thinking just to the handheld side. But there's still to explore that I've found in the handheld universe, and I've got a few in my collection now, and each one of them has slightly different capabilities than others. And the point that I want to bring to the discussion is that you don't necessarily need to go all the way into every corner of the hobby that you come across. You can pick the one that you like. You don't have to branch out if you don't want to. I'm not saying don't branch out. There's lots of good to be had from branching out. But yeah.
VA7WZD, M7BYD returning. How true. The expression I used quite early on in the net, and that is quite simply, it's a hobby of 1,000 hobbies, and some of us will explore all different things. It's what you choose. It's the sort of an area that you are comfortable with, and that encourages you to communicate with others, because the very nature of our hobby is, after all, communications. And if you achieve it in a particular way, you've got your license, the choice is, of course, yours. Yeah, you tried different radios, and we now have the ability, of course, with code plugs, we can sort of set parameters within our handhelds, and I've done with my own, and that helps you with the hobby. I'll take a bib. M7BYD continuing. So yeah, as I've said, I've done that with my own radios. Do you currently just choose to go through a repeater? Do you have any nodes, hotspots, or anything along those lines that you communicate to use internet assisted radio? So that's another question. If you don't mind, I'll pass it back to you. And congratulations if you've only been in the hobby for a short time. Thank you so much for joining this, which is called the New Hams Net. And it's for new and experienced hams to help one another through their own experiences. Back to you, Derek, if I may. VA7WZD from M7BYD.
VA7WZD returning. As far as the internet connection modes go, I am building a node from a Raspberry Pi, and I need to get a little radio attached to it quite soon. I've got a plan in mind, but haven't quite started. Besides that, the repeaters in my area seem to offer a variety of internet-connected options, such as connecting to the Canada Hub, connecting to IRLP. I can use D-Star not D-Star, DMR to connect to the Brandmeister network in the right place, or the BC Turbo network. Gonna take a break. But the bottom line is, it doesn't. I don't even need to have a node at home to activate all of these internet-connected options, and just being able to see how far away I can talk to somebody with just this little handheld has been quite enjoyable.
I'm 7BYD. Well, the distance that you try and achieve, it's experimentation. That's exactly what the hobby is all about. It doesn't matter if you sort of transmitting with 1 watt, 5 watts, and some handhelds have got 10 watts, and whatever mode you choose, that's part of the experimentation of the hobby, and that's absolutely right, Derek. Achieve what you want to achieve. The way I'm coming to you right now is via the Extended Freedom Network, and it's a network, a big network we've got running here in the UK that communicates throughout the world. If you have the opportunity, do look on the internet at Extended Freedom .network. That's what you need to type into Google. It's all one word, Extended Freedom, and then .network. And the connections throughout the world there are absolutely amazing. And you can connect directly via a Raspberry Pi hotspot that I have here. I also use 3CX on my computer. I have a SIP phone. So various ways of connecting, all of which come out in RF as well. So, don't know. I'll just pass it back to you again, if you don't mind, Derek. Will you be connecting at any time? When you look on the Raspberry Pi, if you go down the list and you find Extended Freedom Network, please have a look, and that's the way you would connect. So back to you one more time, if you don't mind, Derek. VA7WZD from M7BYD.
VA7WZD. Yes, I'm looking at the Extended Freedom Network website now. I'm at my computer. I noticed that there is a Yaesu System Fusion reflector available. I just picked up Yaesu FT7C, and I haven't really touched anything with C4FM yet, but I know there's a few in the area that support it. So if one of those has wires X open and I can connect the reflector to that, then I think I'll try connecting to this net next time that way.
W7 VZD M7BYD. Yeah, please do. Whatever mode suits yourself. That's part of the experimentation, and you get a clean signal. I'm sure. Experiment away to your heart's content, because that's exactly what this hobby is all about. Thanks for joining me, Derek. I appreciate it very much. It'd be great if you have the opportunity. You want to check in again. 73 to your good self. I hope you stay well, and thank you once again for joining this net, the new Hams net. I am currently at the bottom of the list. I shall give a final shout out, because see if anyone else would like to take up the rear. I mean that in its kindest sense. Anyone else would like to pass any comment that would help new hams, you are more than welcome. This is M7BYD, standing by for any more check-ins, please.
Number 7, India, Gulf, Quebec, Randy out here in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, this is M7BYD. Forgive me, didn't get the beginning of your call sign, but there was a station, British Columbia. If you would be so kind as to come back to me, I can get you into the log. And also, again, if you wouldn't mind giving of your name. This is M7BYD standing by.
Victor Echo number 7, India, Gulf, Quebec. My name is Randy, and I'm out here in or I should say Mission, British Columbia, just 60 miles east of Vancouver. And I just listened to your net there. Go ahead.
Okay, got you, Randy. V7IGQ. Yep, got you. Absolutely. Welcome to the net. I hope you've heard one or two contributions towards the net. And tonight's net is all about helping new amateurs to establish a new station by way of advice from their own experiences, what equipment maybe to buy, what path to follow in order to enhance the way that you enjoy the hobby, that sort of thing, Randy. So thank you for taking the time to drop by and checking in. You are more than welcome. Pass it over to your good self. V7IGQ from M7BYD.
Good for having me in here. I was just run across the net and listening to it, and just thought I'd jump in here and say hello. And it's pretty quiet all around the bands for anybody up here. I didn't catch your name, and I didn't catch where you were. Go ahead.
V7IGQ, M7BYD. Yes, station name here is Keith. Kilo Echo India Tango Hotel, net control here of the new Hamsnet, which takes place every Sunday, which is 2000 hours GMT, and right now, of course, that's 1900 hours UTC. We put with a little bit of a question for people who may be new amateurs or indeed experienced hams who can call in and give a bit of advice on a little topic I've got running. That's really what it's about, Randy. And that's why it's called the new Hamsnet. And welcome to it. You're more than welcome to join in. Back to you, Randy. V7IGQ from M7BYD.
That's it for me. I I just got to run down to the local Tim Hortons here in town and go meet a guy for coffee. So I just thought I'd get in here and say hello. And it's about 23 out here, and it's really warm out here in Vancouver, up the valley. I live 60 miles east of Vancouver, out in a little town called Mission. So it gets hotter out here in the valley than it does in town. So 7th breeze, and have a good day. And I will let you know, and I'll catch up to you probably next time. B7IGQ will be clear.
V7IGQ, M7BYD. Returning, yeah, thank you very much, Randy. Nice. As far as warmer temperatures are concerned, I much prefer the warmer temperatures to the cold, and not a cold weather person whatsoever. So yeah, 23 to me, yes, it's quite high, but I find that comfortable. I know that my wife doesn't. She's the polar opposite, if you will. And yeah, you passed by, you joined in, and you are very welcome. If at any time you hear the net on and you want to join in or indeed listen, happy that you do so, Randy. Do take care, and hopefully we will speak again. 7-3 to you. Enjoy the rest of your week. So I will say now, having said 7-3 to Randy, final call out. If anyone else would like to give me a shout here on the New Hamsnet, you are more than welcome to do so. This is M7BYD. Standing by for any more check-ins, please. This is M7BYD. Looks as though I don't have any more check-ins, but what I will do is thank everyone who's called into the net for this week here on the Sunday. You are more than welcome to do so as frequently as you possibly can. And the contributions, the suggestions that we've had have been really, really good. And this, I do hope, will help anyone who's listening, who has either just recently gained their license, who has the opportunity to listen in, regardless of that, on the listening side only. Please do be encouraged by everything you've heard throughout the net. So, having said what I have just said, I am at the bottom of the list and have reached the end of the net. So, it's time to tie the ribbons. That's the time where I say so many grateful thanks to Gareth. Gareth is G0WUR, and he's so kind as to help populate the netlogger for us all, and check so we all know exactly who's checked in, and we can hopefully see who people have checked in on previous occasions, and also to have a look on the blue screen. So thank you to everyone who's made this net possible. A big shout out, if I can. Great friends we have here at the Extended Freedom Network, the International Radio Network, Rock-Hams-Net, DB Scotland Phoenix Network, no particular order, of course, the Misfits Network, the Ansel Network, the RCWA. We do have amazing collaborations, and we thank you for connecting. And to all the repeater keepers, hubs, nodes, and admins, all the connections, as I said before, quite literally around the world, we here at the Extended Freedom Network are always very grateful for allowing us to be connected to you. So I'm going to close the net at this time, and this is M7BYD. Once again, saying thank you to everyone for joining me, and I'm now closing the net and handing control back to the Extended Freedom Network, wishing everyone the very best 7-3. Take care all, and farewell for now.